Hi, I'm here at GoingGreen 2007, and I'm speaking with Ed Ring, the CEO of EcoWorld, who is also one of the person who has really made this conference come together. So could you tell me a little bit about what your initial hopes were for this conference, the inspiration?
Well, Always On produces the conference. They do a lot of executive conferences, so they have a pretty good reputation. That made it a lot easier to put this together. I guess one of the things we tried to do was get every sector represented. So we look at housing, and we look at cities, we looked at transportation, we looked at biofuel and photovoltaics, and really every sector of green tech that we could kind of break it up into in a 2-day period.
And you've brought a number of CEOs from these various industries together. Is it mostly with the hopes of them sharing their ideas, getting their business models out there for potential venture funding, or is this to basically teach everyone about what everyone else is doing?
Well, it's all of that. I think that we wanted to focus on CEOs and CTOs because we wanted to look at the technology. You know, what are these products that are coming along, and how do they work, and why are they opportunities? Now, because this is an investor conference as well as an executive conference, the perspective certainly is very much financial. There's a lot of people that are learning about these sectors for the first time, and there is a lot of crossover. But what we're finding is a lot of people in the investment community are when they focus on clean tech, they're not really thinking yet about whether they're focusing on biofuel or photovoltaics or something else. Some of them are, but a lot of them are coming in and they're still trying to kind of find their way and see which sectors they're really interested in. So it's helpful for that.
What seem to be the most promising sectors that, from what you've seen at the conference so far, of the most promising technologies that might come out of this?
The best sector there was, we actually had a couple of cancellations, but our photovoltaics panel, I think photovoltaics are probably one of the most interesting sectors, and also solar energy in general, because there's solar thermal power is something that's been around a long time, but it's just starting to come back with some really new, innovative ways to develop solar thermal. So I think solar power is still the biggest thing.
Solar is still the biggest. Does it look as though any of these companies are doing anything really innovative with the technologies, like for improving efficiency or the production of solar panels?
Well, again, we didn't see the photovoltaic panel. There, I could tell you about some of the things going on there. There's photovoltaic concentrators. There's where they actually use magnifying glasses and trackers to have a multiple of suns on a photovoltaic panel, which means with less photovoltaic material, you get the same amount of energy output. What we did see today was a company called Osra. They're doing a concentrator technology that is to heat a thermal transfer fluid. It's actually just water. It goes into a pressure accumulator, and then the pressure accumulator, when it's at critical mass, will turn a turbine. They're actually going to build pressure accumulators that are so big that they can run the turbine 24 hours and then just recharge the accumulator when the sun's shining. And they have some fairly novel ways of concentrating sunlight, which I hadn't seen before, and it's very, very interesting.
Is there anything coming out of this conference that's surprising to you, or that is something that you didn't quite expect?
Well, that's something I didn't think of, and it's a really great design. I don't know what would have happened that I didn't expect. I'm interested in seeing some more evolution from the biofuel industry. I strongly believe that biofuel makes a lot of sense if you can grow that stuff in a tank, but I hesitate to be as outspoken as I feel in some respects about what's happening in the tropics with the use of they're destroying wildlife habitat. They're employing slave labor. It's neocolonization. It's being financed with European offsets. Carbon offsets is paying for this, and you're really talking about ultimately millions of square miles of land that either has already been deforested for biofuel or it's about to be. And I think it's a catastrophe. And I didn't hear any real serious discussion about that on stage just now.
Right, yeah. People have been discussing the loss of the rainforests for years, and here we are with yet another another threat.
It's because we're concerned that we're funding this destruction. And there is a case to be made that quantity of land passing from cloud cover, which, the rainforests form reflective cloud cover, which cools the planet. When you're talking about millions of square miles in the equatorial belt, there's not just carbon issues, there's thermal heat island, and, this isn't a small urban area, relatively small. We're talking some of the largest surfaces, areas of land on the planet. And so it's something that people should be very concerned about.
Yeah. So what is your hope for the effect of this conference?
Well, I hope we do it next year. It's come together very well, and I think it's important to get everybody together from all the different sectors so that we can really get a good idea of how things work together. The Smart Cities panel, the Mega Projects panel, the Nanotech panel, the Green Buildings panel were all examples of panels where they weren't sector specific. And it was an opportunity for people who are doing integration in those areas to see what all of the technologies are that are coming along. So I think it was kind of a thoughtful formula that we used that hopefully will kind of accelerate the development of the industry.
And do you plan on coming back to Davis in the future, or do you plan on moving it to new homes?
We like it here. It's a beautiful place. Davis has been very helpful. I think that the Sacramento community was a little surprised that everyone was coming from everywhere else. We did get some of their companies participating, but for the most part, people are coming over from the Silicon Valley or from all over the world. Osra came from, I think they're from New Zealand. Yeah. We've got some European companies. We've got some people from the East Coast. And actually, I'm from the Silicon Valley, and I must say I'm very proud of the fact that the Silicon Valley really is the hub of green tech. It really does seem to be that, because every single sector, when we looked around and we looked everywhere, they were coming from there. So we had to tell them, it's right up the road, it's a beautiful hall. Maybe you'll get some people from Sacramento who are, coming up with policy that can, be influenced by some of this. It's worked out very well, so I'm not actually the one that's going to make that decision, but I think we're having a very good experience here.
Great. Thank you very much for this interview. It's been wonderful talking with you, and I hope that the conference goes very well for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.